Creality just released the SparkX i7, a Cartesian 3D printer. And honestly, the first thought many of you will probably have is, do we even need a Cartesian printer anymore? With affordable CoreXY machines everywhere, offering high acceleration and enclosed designs, it almost feels like this concept should be outdated. So, is this a step backwards, or is there actually a reward advantage to a simpler motion system? I say it up front, for the right target group, I can recommend this printer. But there are some clear downsides you need to consider. That's why today we are keeping it simple. 3 reasons to buy it and 3 reasons not to. Short, structured, and straight to the point. From now on, all reviews on this channel will stay under 50 minutes, so you can quickly decide whether a machine is worth your money or not. Reason number 1 is clearly print quality. In the end, what really matters is not the spec sheet, but the part sitting on the print bed. And this is exactly where the SparkX i7 delivers. The entry-level segment has improved massively over the past few years. What used to be reserved for machines well above $1,000 range has now become fairly common. Still, with the SparkX i7, I repeatedly had the impression that it goes a step further within its price class. Surfaces are clean and consistent, and the layer lines appear very uniform. For my test, I printed several typical benchmark models. We started with the classic Banshee. This model quickly reveals how well a printer handles overhangs, curves, and fine details. The SparkX i7 delivered a very clean result with sharp edges, consistent layers, and hardly any visible artifacts. Next, I've printed a PETG Vrock to test a print-in-place mechanism. These models are interesting because multiple moving parts are printed already assembled and must be able to move freely right after the print. Here, everything worked just perfectly. The joints could be released immediately, nothing was fused together, and the mechanism moved smoothly from the start. Things became really interesting with the multicolor test. For this, I've printed a helicopter that really pushes the MMU system. Several hundred color changes during a single print are not unusual with these models. These are exactly the scenarios where many multicolor systems start to struggle. With the SparkX i7, however, the color changes run surprisingly reliable. No failed switches, no filament issues, and the final results look fantastic. Even at higher speeds, the print result remains extremely stable. The typical ghosting or visible ringing often seen on cheaper machines is barely noticeable here. Reason number 2 is simple hardware and software maintenance. CoreXY sounds modern and powerful, and in many cases it is. But when things go wrong, it can become complicated really quickly. Hidden belt paths, multiple idlers, and hard to reach components are not always beginner friendly. The SparkX i7 follows a much more open and clearly structured design with independent access, which means you can actually reach everything. Motors, belts, rollers. If something needs to be replaced, you don't have to disassemble half the printer, and spare parts can be swapped without turning it into a full weekend project, even if you're not an experienced tinkerer. And this advantage is not limited to hardware. The SparkX i7 runs on an open Clipper firmware that you can access through Fluid, giving you full control over configurations, macros, and settings. If you want to go deeper, you can adjust parameters and fine-tune the machine to your needs. That's a clear difference compared to systems like the Bamboo A1, where direct firmware access is not part of the concept. Less mechanical complexity combined with more software freedom. That combination makes the SparkX i7 particularly interesting to me, especially for users who want a maintenance-friendly machine without being locked into a completely closed ecosystem. Reason number 3 is the well-thought-out MMU design. Many multi-material systems share the same issue. They have to be opened from the top. Whether it's CFS, ACE, or AMS, you need additional vertical space above the printer just to change filament. That may sound trivial, but in daily use it can be extremely annoying. Anyone who has integrated their printer into a shelf or a workshop wall knows how quickly space becomes limited. With the SparkX i7, filament is loaded from the front. There's no lid flipping upwards and no need to leave extra clearance above the unit. You simply open the front and swap the material. This allows the MMU to be installed in a narrow shelf compartment directly above the printer without wasting valuable vertical space. It's a small design decision, but it makes the system much more practical in real-world setups. Contra number 1 for me is the marketing around efficiency and AI. Creality promotes the SparkX i7 with up to 50% less purge material. At first glance, it would be easy to assume that this comparison refers to a similar printer from other manufacturers such as the Bamboo A1. In reality, this is not the case. The comparison only applies to older Creality systems, particularly printers using the classic CFS such as the Creality HI or the K2 series. On the product page, however, this is only mentioned in a very small print, while the graphic simply labels the comparison as other. This can easily give the impression that the claim refers to a broader comparison with other multicolor systems on the market. Technically, the potential savings are understandable. The SparkX i7 uses the new CFS light system. With the traditional CFS, filament has to be fully retracted back into the box during a color change. With the CFS light, it only retracts a short distance behind the tool head. This alone significantly reduces the switching time. In my measurements, the pure retraction phase on the K2 Pro took about 1 minute and 17 seconds, while the SparkX i7 only needed around 40 seconds for it, which responds to roughly 48% faster retraction. The same trend appears when looking at the total color changing time. When switching from black to white, the process was reduced from about 3 minutes and 40 seconds on the K2 Pro to roughly 2 minutes and 28 seconds on the SparkX i7, which equals a reduction of around 33%. When switching from white to black, the time dropped for approximately 2.5 minutes to about 1.5 minutes, making it roughly 35% faster. There's also a technical difference when it comes to material usage. Printers like the K2 Pro or the Creality HI use significantly longer nozzles. Because of that, the more material needs to be flushed during color changes. This becomes visible when looking at the flush volume multiplier. On the SparkX i7, the value is around 0.8, while on the K2 Pro it is roughly 1.3. In my test print, the SparkX i7 produced about 17.89 grams of purge waste, while the K2 Pro generated around 34.5 grams. This is also where another point of confusion appears. If you already use multiple Creality printers, this multiplier is often automatically inherited from existing profiles. If you print with the K2 Pro and then switch to the SparkX i7, the slicer may continue using the higher multiplier from the K2 Pro profile. In that case, the potential efficiency advantage almost completely disappears. Only after manually adjusting the parameter does the actual material saving become visible again. A similar pattern applies to the AI topic. The announcement initially raised expectations of intelligent slicer optimizations or adaptive features built directly into the printer. In reality, it mainly refers to a cloud-based add-on called Make Now, which allows users to convert photos into 3D models and export them as STL files. It's an interesting idea in principle, but it has no direct connection to the SparkX i7 and could theoretically be used with any printer. Contra number 2 is the limited material range, especially when it comes to ABS and ASA. In theory, you can print small ABS or ASA parts on an open printer, for example by adding a simple windshield. So technical, it's not impossible. However, this comes with two major downsides. First, there are the well-known health concerns related to fumes, which are much harder to control in an open system. And second, and more important here, there is a software limitation. The MMU simply does not provide native ABS or ASA profiles. If you want to print these materials, you have to rely on modified or fake PLA profiles in the slicer just to get the job started. That's not a clean workflow, and it certainly doesn't match the idea of a plug-and-play machine. If you regularly work with ABS or ASA, or if you're planning to print larger technical parts, you should probably look at a closed printer that is designed for these materials, such as something in the direction of a K2 Pro. Contra number 3 is the overall material feel. Even though the print quality is generally excellent, certain parts of the printer simply don't feel particularly premium. The MMU in particular, along with sections of the outer housing, rely heavily on lower cost plastics. At this price point, cost savings have to be realized somewhere. Using more plastic components is an obvious and economically sensible way to achieve that. So this is explicitly a subjective perception. Performance is not affected, and the machine delivers where it counts. Overall, the SparkX i7 is a very good printer. At its price point, it's hard to go wrong with it. The printer quality is excellent, the hardware design feels well thought out, and the MMU concept works smoothly in everyday use. Of course, there are also a few downsides. The advertised reductions in loading times and material waste are technically understandable, but in my opinion they are communicated somewhat poorly. The comparison mainly refers to older Creality systems, and in addition, a slicer parameter such as a flush multiplier can be inherent from other printers' profiles. If that value is not adjusted, the potential efficiency advantages may not be visible at first. The AI topic also turns out to be more of a cloud feature than a real innovation built directly into the printer. Another limitation is material support. The SparkX i7 is not really designed for ABS or ASA, since the MMU does not provide native profiles for these materials and you have to rely on workarounds in the slicer. If you regularly print with those materials, you should probably look for an enclosed printer instead. And despite the excellent print quality, the extensive use of plastic on the MMU and parts of the housing makes the machine feel a bit less premium, at least in my view. Visually, the SparkX i7 clearly takes inspiration from the Bamboo A1, that's hard to miss. At the same time, Creality adds its own touches with the front-loading MMU and small details like the integrated LED light. Another major advantage is the open firmware. Through Clipper and Fluid, you have direct access to configurations, macros, and settings, something that is becoming increasingly rare with many modern printers. So, if you're looking for a fast, easy-to-use multicolor printer for PLA and PETG and similar materials, the SparkX i7 offers a very strong overall package. You will find the link to the printer in the video description. If you purchase through that link, you directly support our channel. Thanks for watching. Feel free to leave a like and a comment if you want to discuss anything about the printer. See you next time. Bye.